I think it's recording. It didn't say anything about it, but I think it's recording. In the room, I've provided some handouts, and let me see if I can share them in the chat as well. We need your help with Service Toastmasters. This year, we had what I would call a skeleton crew of officers. We started out with, I want to say, 4 of the 6 roles filled. All right. See if I can share this. I'm gonna have to figure this out in just a minute. We started out with 4 of the 6 roles filled of officers, and then we lost one of our officers, one of the very important roles that we need to have each and every year. And our Toastmasters year runs from like a fiscal year from June through July. And each officer has a term of about that length of time. So what I provided, and this is what I'm going to do since I cannot drop this in the chat, I'm going to share my screen so we're looking at the same thing for now. And then maybe I can provide the link to this, and then you'll be able to see it as well. Let's see, here we go. Can you see that, those of you online? Sergeant at Arms, can you see that form? Neela, Larry?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Sergeant at Arms is one of our officer roles that we are in need of this year. And I have been doing the role of Sergeant at Arms this year since we did not have one to take on the role. And I've asked a couple of people to help me in pieces of this role actually this year, because we are in the CNBC building and meeting in person. We have our equipment and materials in a bag that I've asked Nick to store in a locker. And that's part of it, the storage of our equipment and materials. And then managing those things, our meeting facilities. Let me scroll down. This is also hospitality and membership information. So when people come in, you have them sign the guest book. You make sure that they can, well, when they're visiting, you make sure that they have access to all of the materials they need or handouts, and you greet members and guests. Also with distributing our club materials and inventory control. So if we're running out of something like the ribbons that we get for table topics or best speaker or something like that, that's something that you would report back to the club that we need. So I would like to encourage one of our Toastmasters to think about serving in the Sergeant at Arms role. If you'd like to know more information about it, there's plenty of information on Toastmasters International, or I could share more information with you. This is a high-level outline of what the role is, but it's definitely a necessary role, and one that I'm looking to actually fill sooner than later, because like I said, I have to enlist people to help me a little bit right now with this, instead of taking everything home and bringing it on site each week. Do I have anyone who just wants to volunteer, because you're just chomping at the bit right now? Or any questions?
Yeah, what if you can't make it, like I was present last week? That seems like someone that would have to be there.
Yes, it is someone who would pretty much have to commit to be there every time, and when you're not there, you get somebody to cover you, to grab the things and set them up. So that's basically, because I wasn't here last week either, you didn't know that, but my son was sick and I had to stay home and I had to ask for some assistance with it, but it's, I think it's, you know, something that's fairly simple, straightforward as a whole. If we had anyone who was interested in doing that. One thing that we do not have that I think we need is signage in the building. We need a sign outside the door that says this is, we're in here, that would also advertise to people that there's a Toastmasters meeting going on, and they might be interested and begin and say, what's that? And join us until we can get back to First Fridays. That may be a way of getting people in the building instead of learning more about us. But I'm hoping that someone will step in for that role. The second one, let me pull this one up. VP of Education. VP of Education. Now, this is one of the more essential roles, I would say, for a Toastmasters club because VP of Education is basically your coordinator for the Pathways program. That person who is making sure that we have everyone assigned to roles on the meeting agenda, planning the club schedule, or managing the club schedule and planning meetings, managing members' progress and pathways, and acts as base camp manager. So let's say you complete level 1, right? How do you get credit for it? Who knows? No one knows because we don't have a VP of Education. But you know, Dr. James, you've done it before.
Yes.
Okay, tell us how you notify someone you completed the level in pathways.
You have to go through the process on that. Steps.
Right, so your VP of Education and your president will get a notification that the level award has been submitted, and then they have to go in and finalize that, just as, you know, to make sure that someone knows, you know, this person completed it, we need to give them credit and give the club credit. So we don't have anyone in the VPE role currently, and now the president is the sole person who can submit those awards for us. And, you know, so we really need to have this position filled, especially moving forward, and so that we make sure that we get credit for this. This person will also plan speech contests for our club, hold our officers accountable, keep current on Toastmasters programs, manage mentor program, which I think would be a good thing for us to have here at public service. And then all the skills that you learn in this position is something else that I think is important. It's an important takeaway for what you gain from serving in the role. Any questions about VPE? VP of Education. So we all, as officers, have pitched in throughout the year to make up for the loss of this position, as well as so that our membership would not take a hit in not having the position filled. But we would love to have someone serving in this position moving forward. That would be a great value add for our public service. And the reason why I'm bringing all of this up is because, as you know, when you don't have roles filled and other people are stepping in to fill the position, sometimes there's gaps that happen and other things that misfires, you know, other things that are happening because we don't have the role filled. Any questions about, and this is our club, public service, this is currently in our club, so I just wanted to bring that up and make everyone aware, and also petition interest, hopefully, in you to serve. Questions? Anyone wants to volunteer, raise your hand and say, I want to be the PPE. So those are officer roles, and today, as many times I step in to be the presiding officer that calls the meeting to order, we would have Raphael. I think Raphael was trying to join us last week and did not have our teams meeting. So that was unfortunate, and that's why I sent out a message to everyone this morning. Because, Jamila, did that hit your calendar, our meeting? It did, okay. That's good. That's why I didn't send out an extra reminder. I didn't want to scam people, but then today I just said, I'll send it out just so good to make sure that everyone had it. Serving in this role as Toastmaster of the day is the person who works our agenda, right? And today we don't have a Toastmaster signed up for that role. I wanted to, in my other club, we just thought of having co-hosts for Toastmaster for people who might be a little nervous about serving in that role. So maybe that could be something that we do in public service to just encourage each other to serve in the role and maybe lean on each other as that Toastmaster. But today I'm serving as Toastmaster. I have a speech, so I need a volunteer to introduce me and to do my evaluation. Can I get someone to do that for? You can do my evaluation, so you'll also do my introduction. Thank you.
Hold up.
I have it written out. There you go. Oh, not yet. It's enough. Now I need an eye counter grammarian who can serve as our eye counter grammarian and bring us maybe a word of the day. Anyone? Eye counter grammarian, you did a great job last week, Jonathan. I don't know why you're not jumping up. You were about inspired? Oh, well, let's just keep that way it's going. I have the words over there. If you'd like to grab one. And if you could come up and just tell us what you'll do for us today as grammarian after you pick your word of the day. While you're doing that, I'll have Nick come up and tell us what he's going to do as our timekeeper, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I have these. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. Hope everyone's doing good today. I am going to be your timekeeper. So I time everyone's speech and I give signals as to when they've reached the 1.5 minute mark.
1 minute.
1 minute green. Okay, I'll put up this green stick. And then the yellow is 1.5, and then red is 2. All right? So look for the signals, green, yellow, red.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for my speech today, it's a 10 to 12 minute. So I'll get the green at 10 minutes, the yellow at 11, and then the red at 12. But I probably won't have that long. All right. Thank you, Jonathan.
Good morning. My name is Jonathan Gaines. I will be /grammarian for today. I will count the souls and the filler words that everyone uses. And the word of the day is neophyte, which means a new covenant to a principal or a group. And as a neophyte to Toastmaster, Dementia loves trying to get us up here into make speeches.
I really love that. That's perfect wording for Valentine's Day. So I might have to, do I have my background blurred?
Neophyte.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Good, that did. I will also type that in the chat. Thank you, both Nick and Jonathan. Now, Dana, if you tell us what you'll do for us as Table Topics Master, and actually, if you're ready, we can start Table Topics.
Okay.
All right. Yay. Why am I on one side?
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I'm more than just a head. I'm the table topics person today, and so it's my privilege to, I only have three, but I've got three, and I think they're kind of a little more deep, you know. So I only have three questions, but, so I'm just going to read one of them, and then, you know, if someone wants to volunteer to do that, you know, just feel free to jump on in. Because my three, there's kind of a little bit of a theme here that you might pick up. So the first table topic question, if your retirement started tomorrow, what would you do for the rest of your life? Anyone online? Retirement starts tomorrow. What are you gonna do?
I'll jump on it.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. We don't have any honored guests today. I've been thinking quite a bit about retirement in the last couple of months. Going to the North Carolina State retirement thing, orbits and all these sort of things. Even looking at what it would cost to buy back military time, which I probably should have did that day one, because at this point it costs what you get a townhouse for. But if retirement started tomorrow, and I've been having a great deal of conversation about this in planning, and I've got a ways. I've got 8 years out. But as a neophyte to retirement, if it started tomorrow, with all the planning I'm doing now and retirement started tomorrow, I'd probably panic would be the first thing that I would do. I would probably panic. I am so used to, and maybe this is something that I need to work on over the course of the next 8 years or whatever until I retire. But I'm so used to activity, work, and then more work, and then other things on top of that. That what the day after not having to do all of these things, and even the things that I do, a lot of things I don't have to do, but I do them. So the day after I would retire, the first day of retirement, official retirement, I think I would have to spend some time rediscovering self. And I would imagine that most of us, the first day of retirement, is going to have to spend time rediscovering self. If you stop and think about it, on your journey for the last, by the time generally you get to retirement, for 30, 40 years, you've been programmed to get education. You've been programmed to advance, learn new skills, and you're going to still do all these things, but then apply them in the work concept. And just think about the difficulty for some of us of the transition back to the office after about 2 years of the pandemic. Most of the world, a good deal of the world, particularly folks that work behind a desk, have been struggling with this even a year and a half into it. Our occupancy rates of our buildings uptown are somewhere around 50% now. And that's after 2 years of not working, but just working differently. So my first day of retirement, I have to figure out how I work differently when I don't have to work for a living. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry. And Larry, I like that angle you took, like, you know, post-COVID, you know, just kind of, I like the name you used, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, question number 2. What is one activity that you currently do that you would love to turn into a career? For example, hobbies or volunteer work.
I think James.
I feel like James is staring dead into the camera, so.
Yes.
You are welcome. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. And thank you, Ms. Megan, for a very challenging question for me, which really shouldn't be. I am very creative person. And so there are just multiple artistic endeavors that I've done throughout my life, everywhere, everything from pottery, sculpture, painting. I've even been able to use my artistic talents at work in building very huge water drop display for conferences and turn that into a display that I've set up at schools and that I've had in parades. But I'm just trying to figure out where there's a need outside of the applications that I'm using it for, what kind of business I can do with those talents. So that's been on my mind a lot over the past several years, particularly as I have surpassed what I had anticipated as my retirement date. And I am still trying to figure out, what do I do next? Do I go and, with this artistic side, find the career there, or do I leave the city and go and maybe in the private sector and do what I've been doing, or working in this field that I've worked for the city for the last 32 plus years.
Okay, last question, and it's kind of a fun one. Congratulations, you won the largest Powerball prize in history. What are your plans?
I'll take this one.
Okay, go ahead, thank you.
So this falls, for me, this falls right in line with what I would do with retirement. Because if I was the largest Powerball winner, I'm pretty sure I would no longer be working. This falls right in line also with why I joined public service Toastmasters, even though I work in the corporate sector. What I would love to do is to do what I do with community outreach full time. So if I won the Powerball, I'm pretty sure I would open up a pretty huge community center that would serve our homeless community, that would serve the underserved, where people could come for resources to get items that they needed, services that they needed from the community. And I would focus my attention on doing the things that I enjoy, traveling with my family. I would focus on, both of my sons have businesses, so I'm pretty sure I would invest heavily in both of those. I would be voluntold by my family to invest heavily into those businesses. My husband also has a business, which probably I would invest in as well. And so it would be less focused on corporate, spending so much time in corporate America. That time is cutting into all of my passions. And so I'm pretty sure I would be focusing my time and my resources into those passions and no longer into the corporate sector.
Okay, so those are the only three questions I had. But if you notice, kind of my theme was, you know, if you had all of the time, if you had time on your hands and enough resources so that you can do whatever you want, what do you want to do with your life? You know, and that, you know, because this is my first public sector job, and retirement is a big deal. Because, well, we get a pension, and that's, yeah, such a blessing. So, but yeah, in public sector, we do focus on retirement. It's like the goal, the date. But I'm learning, it's like, well, what about that next day? You know, are you prepped mentally? You know, because so just my questions were designed then, okay, you plan your finances well enough and you're good. So, you know, financially you're good, time-wise you're good, but are you going to sit and binge Netflix for the rest of your life, or what do you want to do? What do you want to do for the rest of your life? So,
Good. I enjoyed that. Thank you, Dana. James, if you would introduce me, I'd appreciate it.
Well, good afternoon again. So I stand before you because to introduce this fantastic speaker. I've just been waiting all for the last week for this day to come to be able to hear from her once more. She was not in our physical presence last week. And so glad to hear Ms. Valencia Timms. She will be doing a speak from her Pathways Strategic Relationship track. Reflect on your path. The Path to Strategic Relationships is the title of her speech. And her introduction is, upon completing my second pathway, I'm reflecting on where I stand as a public speaker, the leadership skills we gained, and my relationship with my fellow Toastmasters. This year yielded several opportunities, and I'm excited about what's yet to come. We're excited to please come and give your speech, Ms. Valencia Timms, The Path to Strategic Relationships.
Thank you.
Fellow Toastmasters, I have been a Toastmaster since 2017. When I joined Toastmasters, I was working at Washington University in St. Louis on a small team that was expanding. And what I learned is because of the work that I did, I always ended up in rooms with leadership, people who were making decisions. I had a lot of ideas about what to change and what they could do better. And I've always been this type of personality where about after 3 months of starting a job, I'm strategizing. What could we do to improve these processes? And normally I'm having a one-on-one conversation about improvement where that person says, oh, I needed to get you in the room in front of these other people. And then Valencia turns into a player. I always shut down if I was in a room in front of people. One-on-one, no problem. Even in a small meeting with people that I knew, no problem. But if there was a decision riding on me presenting, big problem. Plan. Toastmasters was my way of opening up. Now, not only has Toastmasters helped me to improve my public speaking, it also has helped me to improve my leadership skills. people used to ask me, do you think you could ever be a manager? Yeah, no way. I don't want to lead people. That's not what I can do. I'm good at doing this and being in the background. Good at this and the background. Not the forefront, not being out front leading. No, that's not who I am. I was pushed. Okay, not pushed. Inspired, man. More like voluntold to be the president of the Toastmasters Club, VPE, VP of membership, VP of public relations. I have served in almost every single officer role there is in Toastmasters. My first club was Washington University MedMasters, and then I moved to Charlotte in 2018, 1 year after becoming a Toastmaster, and knew I had to find a Toastmasters club. The first Toastmasters club I joined, I was ran out of there. These people were ninjas in Toastmasters. It was scary to me. I was so intimidated by them. The other problem was they had an officer who was trying to take me to lunch instead of helping me get enrolled in the club, and that made me really uncomfortable. So I stopped going to meetings. And then my friend introduced me to Larry Edwards here on our meeting, who was actually in my same building. Didn't know who he was, but he was part of Toastmasters here at Public Service. I joined Public Service Toastmasters in 2019 while I was working for Mecklenburg County. During that time, I finished my first pathway, Innovative Planning. Innovative planning, does that sound familiar? I love planning. I love being innovative. I love process improvement. I was thinking, this is the perfect path for me. There's 5 levels in pathways to complete. I finished those paths by May 2021. Then I couldn't get enough. I had to start another path. And the path that I'm on now is strategic relationships. Now, the reason why I decided to take on this path was because everything we do is about relationships. And even though I've served in all of these officer roles, I'm very hard on myself, I just have to let you know, I felt like a failure as far as leading was concerned, to motivate people to do things. When the pandemic hit, right after I became president of public service, we took a hit in membership. That I took personally. I called every single person on our roster. Hey, are you okay? What's going on with you? Or how can I support you? It wasn't just about coming to club meetings. It was about, I used to sit in a room with these people every week, and now I don't see them anymore. Are you okay? What's going on in your life? And I developed those relationships. But I felt like because of a certain shyness in me, I needed to work this path, strategic relationships, and learn about how to build relationships with people and get desired outcomes. So that's what I focused on in strategic relationships. And it's interesting that yielded me to step into a role with the district. District 37 is all of Western North Carolina. I became an area director, which was here in Charlotte, of 4 clubs here in Charlotte. I was really excited for this role. But guess what happened? I'm going to 4 different Toastmasters meetings periodically to check in with those members now and build relationships with those members now. My circle just got a bit bigger and my responsibilities. It was a great experience though for me. Meeting everyone in the district just opened me completely up. I was super excited about working as, actually, you get it voluntold a lot once you take on these roles, just so you know. As the area director, I was asked to take on different roles in contest, judge, contest chair, different roles in the contest for every single area then the division, and the district. I was so busy on Zoom, I was ready to pull off my wig. You didn't know that, that's what this was. My hair does not grow like this, but hey, she's still fresh. Anyway, I was really excited to be serving all these roles, but what it showed me was how overwhelming it could be when you're serving in a club, serving various clubs, and also serving in the area. And public service, again, has taken a hit in membership. So the one thing I want to say in this speech right now, without delay, is thank each and every one of you for being here. You didn't have to show up in this room. You didn't have to speak. You didn't have to take on a role. You don't have to sign up for a speech. You don't have to sign up to do anything. You could be here as an observer every single week. And I know Jonathan made the joke about being voluntold and all of that. Hey, if you don't ask, you don't receive. And I am learning to ask for what I need. Innovative planning helped me strengthen my planning skills and being innovative. Strategic relationships has helped me ask for what I need. The other thing that strategic relationships has shown me is to be empowered, that no is a complete sentence. You can't always do everything that someone asks you to do. I'll give you an example of that for me this year. One of my goals this year was to be in a club contest. I'm a member of 3 Toastmasters clubs. One of my Toastmasters clubs had a contest, and they had a table topics contest. And after the contest, they asked me to serve as their international speech contestant in the area. And I had to decline because I already planned to compete in a club contest with one of my other clubs, South Park Toastmasters. And I'm glad that I did because I won. I had a contestant and I actually participated and I won the contest. I wasn't just voluntold to be the international contestant. It made me feel good to win. I had to decline. I couldn't worry about how they felt about it, and I had to move on. For us in public service, I feel I've served in worn many different hats. There's a saying in Toastmasters that a Toastmaster wears many different hats. And I'm thankful for all of the opportunities that I have here because it strengthens who I am. But again, I stand before you each and every week asking for people to serve and step up. Now, as much as I might seem like I'm very comfortable in this space, it's still an adjustment. And so the Valencia show is not what I'm tuning in for every week. As a matter of fact, at the end of my past strategic relationships, I turned in my level 5 and I thought it was done. I clicked the button, I sent it in to base camp, I thought it was finished. And then it popped up, you have to give one more speech. It has to be 10 to 12 minutes. And so here I am before you today, giving an additional speech. Actually, I sent a message to Raphael and I said, I finished my level 5, I think, because I served as an instructor for VP of Public Relations in a training. It was an hour long. Raphael was there. He knew I was there. He knew I served. I finished, I completed the level, turned it in, and then this popped up an additional thing to do. And I was like, no. However, what this has done has given me the opportunity to share with you my journey in Pathways, and also to ask you to please volunteer to serve for this club. It will make your club so much better to not just be me. Service Toastmasters, serve in the different roles. Sign up, go out on our Toast Host site and sign up. And think about serving in an officer role. And this is the most important reason why. I'm a member of 3 clubs right now. At the end of March, when dues are renewed, I will only renew for one of my clubs. I am offering 2 of my clubs at the end of March, and I need you to step in for public service, because actually I'll be here for another 6 weeks in public service, but then I will not be a member of this club after that. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm here, and I'm here to support all of you as I transition into one club and probably more responsibilities with the district. So thank you all for listening to my speech today. I'm really happy to give Public Service this Level 5 award, and I look forward to all that you're going to do in the future. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I could have clapped louder than that for the rest of it. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. All right. Now, I will call for, I didn't have an evaluator today. Oh, yes, I do. James is my evaluator. You need some time. All right. James, please, if you would, let me have it.
Well, 1 second. Because I did sign up for as the general evaluator. So let me go ahead and introduce Mr. James Williams as the speech evaluator, and then I'd like to leave some comments at the end of that. So, but Mr. James Williams, please step up and evaluate Ms. Valencia Timms.
Face, off my head. All right, Ms. Valencia.
Yes.
Your speak on the path to strategic relationships. Started out extraordinary until the last 15, 20 seconds, and then to me, you just blew it at that point. But maybe I'll try to evaluate on everything before your So what you excelled at is telling your story. And you took us through where you were living and club that you were a part of there and your experience coming here. And you just have an awesome way of doing it, whatever story, whatever speech you have, telling that story. I was going through on where the evaluation sheet that talks about clarity, vocal variety, and very clear in your speech, very good vocal variety, eye contact is there, gestures are there, audience awareness. The only, and I did, and interest, all those areas. I just put 5s all the way down. I'm like, well, gosh, I got to give her something less than 5, so somewhere on here. So I did that in comfort level. And just because you tell us that, first of all, you took that big breath before, trying to get yourself ready for this, and you tell us all the time that you're a shy person and all, it doesn't come through really in your speaking. Where it says you may want to work on, very difficult for me to find anything that you need to work on, because when I watch you speak, there's a thought in my head is I want to be able to deliver like that. And so what I did right down here is where you work on whatever shortcomings you think that you have. Stuff that I don't see, but if you see it in yourself and you make that, make those improvements, make those adjustments, then wow, I just can't imagine you know, what'll come next out of that. And to challenge yourself, I'm gonna scratch through this after that last statement that you said. It is kind of points back to what you need to work on. Challenge yourself is to realize how awesome you are. Okay? So, I keep on hearing you say stuff throughout your speeches and everything that, you know, sound like you feel like you have some shortcomings there. You do an awesome job at presenting. You know, title of Path to Strategic Relationships. And I just feel that God strategically placed both of us at this club. And I know that relationship has greatly benefited me. And hope you as well.
Thank you, James. Thank you very much. Okay, so this isn't an evaluation of the speech, it's just comments for Valencia. So I remember when you arrived here at Public Service Toastmasters, and from your story, from your journey, none of those things other than you as part of Toastmasters before when you was in Missouri would I have known. I would have not known of any distress or nervousness or fear, because you don't project that. And that could be a positive thing, a very positive thing. Of course, the last bit, you know, where we was talking about, well, it's time to move on. It saddens me, but I do want to carry to some of the points that you were making. Now, one of my best friend, you know, years ago, I forgot what it was I was doing, and it was some sort of, you know, volunteer management leadership, something or other. And, you know, I had a lot on my plate, and I was thinking like, okay, I just can't, I don't know if I can do X, Y, Z. But then he said something to me that's is stuck to this day. And I share it with each of you, particularly as Valencia is making that call to step up to some of these leadership posts. He said to me, reluctant leadership is leadership indeed. So I'll say it again, reluctant leadership is leadership indeed. I would say some of the best leadership comes from the times of trial and tribulation where you don't want to be the person. You don't want to be, do not want to be the one at that point in time. But this is how, it's through this kind of friction that we stretch, we grow. That's how muscles build. You tear them down, they build back up. Muscle memory, repeated action. This is how we get strong. So I would invite you to expand on Valencia's speech. I would invite each of you to step into these roles, to step into the VP of Education, to step into the role, what was the other one? Sergeant at Arms, you know, to be at welcoming, organizing, make sure we have what we need for our meetings, force there. I think Valencia, she jumped in 2 feet when she got here to our Toastmasters, and then as she's grown her Toastmasters career in general. And I will give you an example of, you know, Valencia has been more or less our acting president, you know, this year. I know she ain't gonna say it, I will. You know, that she has stepped into that void, you know, and I thank her for that. And let me tell you one of the importance of both the Sergeant at Arms role and the VP of Education role from personal experience. In the old system, before Pathways, you had to do, I think, 50 speeches from 10 different manuals. You had to do special projects. You had to do all these different things, right? Because I had a lack of a VP of Education, you know, I got all the way through what they call the advanced, advanced gold, communicator gold, and the advanced leadership bronze. And I did my special projects, and I did all this. I was area governor and all these things, but there was no VP of Education at the end, and those things weren't recorded. And I never got that coveted DTM because we had no VP of education. Those things were not recorded. It's very, very important, these roles that we play, not that we play, that we serve in. And the art of leadership is service. And that's why we're called public service Toastmasters, not just public access Toastmasters, public service Toastmasters. So I'd invite you to step into these roles, and you've got experience around you that if you have questions, please ask. You know, whether I have the answer or James has the answer, we can find the answer for you. And I'm sure that even though Valencia will be moving on in her journey, she's not lost to you. You know, you'll still be able to access her. So at that, I will close that part down of my comment, not necessarily evaluation, and turn control back over to our Toastmaster, Valencia Timms, for the times and the voting.
I will call for our reports. Who would like to go first? All right, for our timers report.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. Here again, I've recorded each person's time on their speech and ability of speech. So we had Larry, good job on your table topics. I set the timer a little bit late, but so I want to approximate this, 1 minute and 45 seconds on Larry.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. James was next. This was more accurate. 1 minute and 54 seconds for James. And then we had Jamila. Good job, Jamila. Very good speech. And we had 1 minute and 35 seconds for Jamila. And with Valencia's speech, we had 12 minutes and 34 seconds.
Oh, I went over. Thank you.
It's a great speech. All right.
All right. Emotions are running high. Yes. Jonathan, get that cool walk up to the camera. There it is.
Good evening. Good afternoon. This is your favorite meal fight. So, for the word of the day, I have myself and Larry using it. Larry with the arms used it 5 times. Dana 2, Nick 0, James 7, Valencia 0, and Jamila 1.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We have about 3 minutes left in our meeting, and normally I like to take this time to encourage people to sign up for roles in our next meeting. All of you should have access to be able to go on to Toast and log in, sign up for roles. But is there anyone who would like to volunteer right now to be Toastmaster, even if there's a co-host?
All right.
Dana's just done it.
Well, I'm kind of nervous about it, and I haven't done it, and I'm still kind of fuzzy on what exactly you do, but we'll figure it out.
Again.
You're going to do great.
Okay,
Perfect.
okay, we'll do it together. Great, thank you, Dana.
I just like that gavel thing. I'll be honest.
That's right, favorite part. All right, and what about anyone sign up for a speech? Don't we need some icebreakers in the back of the room?
Good job. Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm.
I think the only people.
I thought I saw a head
Jamila
nod.
hasn't had her. Jamila, you haven't done your icebreaker either yet, have you? Oh, did she have a?
I'm sorry, what was the question? I'm having a little trouble hearing today. What was the question?
Icebreaker speech.
Iceberg speech?
Sure.
I haven't done any speeches, so I'm pretty sure I haven't done an iceberg speech. But if you give me a little info, a little intel on what that is.
Yes, I'm
then,
putting it in the chat. It's an
Okay.
icebreaker speech. The icebreaker is the first speech project in all of pathways. It is an introduction to yourself. So basically, you talk about yourself for 4 to 6 minutes, any aspect of yourself that you'd like to share. That is the
Okay.
icebreaker speech project.
sure, okay, I wanted to double check my calendar to make sure I could be here next week. I will volunteer for the iceberg/icebreaker speech.
Thank you. Nick, you're next. And then,
Volunteer.
and next week also, I think I would like for Jonathan to do table topics.
Yeah,
Table topics for us.
that sounds good.
Thank you. James, I'm gonna stretch you a little bit and have you be our grammarian. Thank you. Look at this. I just love the guests in this room. It's wonderful. All right, I think we're good. All right, thank you all for being here. And again, if you are,
4 to 6 minutes, Jamila.
If you are inspired to sign up
Got
for
it. Thank
something
you.
in addition to, what'd you say?
No, she just said thank you. She got the 4 to 6
Okay.
minutes.
To do something in addition or need more information about officer roles, we will have to have officers in place by June of this year to turn into Toastmasters International. So look out there, see what all the roles are. I'll send you the link so you can learn all about them. And I look forward to seeing all that you'll do this year. And we will officially gavel out. Thank you. Great meeting.
Have a great day, everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Let me see how I stop recording.
So, which